Hello, hello. We are live, and I have a treat for you today. I am Patricia Brooks, and I moved to the south of France in 2018. And on today's live stream, I am talking with Lillian Palmer. Now, Lillian is a client of mine who joined the Carefree Expat Incubator Program a couple years ago and then moved to Nice. And I spoke with her a little about a year ago, this time
Yeah.
last year, and
Yeah.
we wanted to do a follow-up conversation. We wanted to have a follow-up conversation because she's been living in Nice for over a year now, and she's got some updates for us. So I see that some people have joined us. If
Hi,
you could
everybody.
If you can hear us, type where you are joining from in the chat. That would be great. And while we wait for those comments to come in, Lillian,
Yes, dear. Hi.
can you
Bonjour.
introduce yourself briefly?
Hi there, everybody. Welcome aboard. I am Lillian Palmer. I'm originally from Southern California, from San Diego, and I moved to Nice, France, December of 2023 with my dog Molly, and she's my sidekick. And we've been here ever since, and my life has changed dramatically in ways that I did not even anticipate, didn't really project it that way. It just evolved, and I went with it, and I knew that I had to get out there and I had to meet people and put myself out there to start a new life because I'm in
Yeah,
a new place, you
yeah.
know? And so uh, I do not for one moment regret my decision or second guess myself, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I am just happy. Um,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So it looks like maybe she has frozen. Can people still see me? I hope everybody can see me. Let's wait a second to get Lillian back. Let's get Lillian back here. Hello.
hey, Barbara, how are you? I see you're in the chat. Yes, are you coming in June? This is a lovely couple that Albuquerque. Good morning from Albuquerque. Hello. New York. Hi from California. I'm in Nice. Hey,
Padma,
Padma.
you're in Nice?
Hey,
Oh,
let's get
yes.
coffee, wine.
Yeah, I believe she's going to be joining the meetup
On the 9th?
on the 9th. So let
Oh,
me give you
super.
some, let me share some
If you're in the
announcements.
neighborhood. Yeah.
The first announcement is I am going to be visiting Nice for the very first time, and I'm going to be having a meetup at Liberté. It's a restaurant, and let me put that in so you can see where we're talking about. I'm going to be there from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. And it is, here we go.
Oh,
All right, so that is where I'm going to be. If you're going to be in the Nice area on April 9th and would like to join us, and Lillian is going to be there as well, please let me know. Either comment in the chat. You can send me an email at hello@the Courage Catalyst. I'd like to get a head count so I can give the restaurant a good count. So, but I hope to see whoever is in Nice at that time there. All right, that's the first announcement I have. The second announcement is that on April 19th, I'm having an online Women Rising Roundtable. Now, these are online conversations with women who are ready to feel more empowered. And each month I do one of these and have a different topic. The first topic I had was reinventing yourself. The topic I had last month was all about dealing with self-doubt and moving through that. And the topic for this month is how to make decisions where you're not putting everybody else first. How to put yourself first as you're making decisions and not feel guilty. So if that's something that sounds
Mhm.
like you'd like to talk through that, get some tools and tips to work through that, then be sure to register for that. And you can do that here, thecouragecatalyst.com/roundtable. So those are the announcements I have. If you're going to be in Nice on the 9th, join us at Liberty.
Yeah.
Um, from 3 to 4:30 p.m. If you are a woman who wants to feel more empowered or be around like-minded women, April 19th is the Women Rising Roundtable. You can learn more about that on my website, and I look forward to seeing you there. All right, so those are the public service announcements. Now for the conversation with Lillian.
Uh-oh. Unplugged and
Uh-oh.
live.
Yes, and if you have questions, feel free to ask them. We'll get to them a little bit later. So you decided to move to Nice, and it was sight unseen, right? You had thought it was
Yes,
Paris.
I did. I thought it was Paris, and I went to Paris for a month. And a girlfriend of mine who is Parisian gave me her apartment, and she went and stayed with a friend of hers. I said, "Yeah, I don't want to kick you out of your apartment." She says, "No, no, no. I have to get up early. No problem. You have the apartment." So that was wonderful. It's in the third district, and I was there for a month. And I looked at it with very different eyes. Can I live here? Do I want to live here? And, also too, because I've got the dog with me, that is also a consideration. She's like, your baby. And I found coming from Padma, I'm from San Diego too, coming from wide open spaces, close to the water, I found Paris a beautiful city. There's a ton of stuff to do there. Claustrophobic for me. For me, it was like New York City, claustrophobic. With the big high towers, you couldn't see the sun coming through in New York. But for me, Paris was the same. I felt locked in, and I needed that vista. I needed the panorama, as the Italians say. And I chose Nice sight unseen. I said, well, I'll go down to the south, and I contracted a real estate agent that helped me find my place to rent, which I'm still doing. This is my second year. They renewed my lease, yay.
Mhm.
And I've made it more my own, so because it came furnished. So that's kind of what I decided. And that was
Yeah.
in June, and then I came back and really put pedal to the metal and just started, getting rid of things and having an estate sale and garage sales and making sure my paperwork was in order and what else do I have to do for the dog and all that. So I could leave in December.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And so the reason that we met each other is because
mhm.
you decided you wanted to join the Carefree Expat Incubator Program, which is a program for single women who are ready to start the
Yeah.
next chapters of their lives living and thriving in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to sign up, and how did that help you make the move?
Well, doing all those online searches for this and that and everything else in between, and I just kind of came upon you and
Mhm.
I watched you and I liked what you had to say and I liked your demeanor and just your sincerity and you knew what you were talking about. It wasn't like, hey, you join this. And that's when I contacted you because even though I had in my 20s lived in Europe before, lived in the south of Italy for 4 years and made my life there. And my parents were Greek, so I am of Greek heritage. The European connection was always very familiar to me and comfortable. But my friends around me that I love so dearly didn't quite understand what I was doing or realize that I was actually doing it. And
Mhm.
so I needed to be around people and have a conversation and understanding with people that were in the same boat as me, that were trying to make a move, that understood what I was going through. And you are a wealth of knowledge, so that I knew that I was getting the right direction as well. And the support from the community that you have within the group was extremely important to me,
Yeah.
because we don't do anything alone as we might think we do, but we don't. The steps are ours, but you're kind of like being held up on a magic carpet by so many other people around you.
Yeah, yeah. So great. So great. So you have been in France for 15 months now?
Yeah, I guess. What are we, December, January, February, March? But yeah, going on 15 months.
15 months. And so last time we spoke, you were a newbie. Now you have more experience behind you.
Yeah.
How has your perspective of living in France changed over the past year?
I think it's more about being comfortable for me. I don't have the butterflies in my stomach because am I going to get off on the right tram stop? You know what I mean? Can I go into a grocery store and buy a loaf of bread, a baguette or something without, it's that familiarity over time. You meet people, you make friendships, and they're supportive as well. So it feels after this year plus, you're in sync with everything around you. You're in the rhythm of life here. You slow down a bit. It's not about zoom, zoom, zoom everywhere and who's who and somewhat of the BS of the American life and the American work. Here it's you have a life and then you work, opposed to the other way around. So I think for me, that's been kind of brewing inside of me little by little by little. Okay, you can slow down a little bit. You don't have to. I still walk fast. That's just me. But I don't need to dodge people in the street anymore. You just stay on your path.
Hold your ground.
Hold your ground, because they don't understand going up one side and down the other. It's
Well,
everybody's
that's a cultural difference, right?
Yeah, and everybody's walking at a different pace. Some are slow, some are medium, some are, and they're coming right at you. But then there's that gentle, somebody yields at the last second.
Yes. So I think what you're saying, comfort, the rhythm of life, you're getting adjusted to some of the cultural differences that before you were not acclimated to. And I think for me, when I moved, it was about 18 months when I started to feel like, yes, I could kind of really relax and feel like I felt comfortable, as you put it.
Yeah. The city to a great extent. I need to go here. So it's going to take me about 20 minutes. And, because I don't have a car, don't need a car. And everywhere I go either by foot or the tram or the buses here. Well, the transportation is excellent in France in general. So I don't miss being from San Diego, California. Hello, you guys from Escondido and San Diego. I don't miss having a car.
Yeah.
I miss driving sometimes because I still drove a manual. I didn't give that up. But I don't miss having everything that surrounds your car. The insurance, the gas,
Yeah, the traffic.
Oh, God, the traffic. And I'm glad I don't drive a Tesla.
So you said that what your perspective has changed.
Sorry, I had to throw it in.
Yeah, well, I'm going to glaze over that. Your perspective has changed because you feel more comfortable living in France. What would you say was your biggest challenge in moving to France, or acclimating to living in France?
The language, and it still is. It isn't as simple as I had anticipated. And I go through phases of being real studious and learning, and then,
Mhm.
oh my God, but it's sinking in. I mean, I'm not afraid to speak, even if it's, you know, haphazard or broken English or, uh, you know, uh, whatever it might be. People are always willing to meet you halfway. I have not had any negative responses or
Mhm.
experiences here. So I'm speaking only for myself. Um, it's been pleasant, you know. And everybody speaks English as well. So
In
to some
Nice.
degree, the restaurants, and sometimes that's bad because you slide right into the English.
Yeah, yeah.
And or when you try to speak the language and then they answer you in English, it's like, dang, I was trying, I thought I had this one down.
Yeah, and I think the thing with that too is that you can allow them to, if they're not in a rush, right? You can allow them to speak their English and you can
Yeah,
continue with the French so that you can get
yeah,
that practice in because
yeah.
um why do you think it's harder than you anticipated?
Maybe it's my time of life. When I was in Italy, I was in my mid 20s, and so you pick it up real quick. Um, it is it is not a simple language. So many exceptions, and this you really have to. And I would recommend to anybody, if you're planning to come over here, start learning the language before you come. Take a
Yeah.
class, do whatever you need to do before you come, so you've got a little bit of a foundation, and then everything goes out the window because they don't speak like that. And they speak very quickly, and you catch a few words here
But
and
you'll
there, so
have
you
that
get the gist of it.
foundation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
You're not, walking blind uh, with what you're doing. So, yeah, definitely, wherever you land, just start learning some of it, some of the language before you come. And I
Yeah.
would definitely recommend that.
And
And I had, but yeah.
you said that it's some days or some weeks you're like, yeah, I want to do this. I'm studying, and then other weeks you're not. What is how are you learning French?
Um, I listen to people in the streets. I'm also taking I broke down because I need structure. Girl
Mhm.
needs structure. So I'm taking an online course. Um, uh, I'm going to get back. Nice also offers free classes through the city. So I'm going to start being diligent through that, twice a week, and start taking advantage of that. And there are also tons of conversation groups.
Mhm.
So, anything, some of them are free, some of them are like €4, some of them are like €10. It just depends. Or if you can find someone who wants to do a language exchange,
Yeah,
that's good too.
yeah,
They just want to,
I I like the idea about structure. I think we do more when we've got that structure.
yeah, I need the verb things. I need, because in my head, I need to put it
Yeah,
together. And
but
because I'm visual, I need to see it in my brain, see it in my
yeah.
head.
But
Yeah.
even with if that's the structure you need, that's great. But also having like class to go to, or for me recently, it was the Delta exam that I was studying for,
Mm.
and that created some structure for me. So, but yes, definitely, I think it's a great idea to go ahead and tackle the language, start working on the language before you make the move abroad.
Yeah, it would be advantageous to do that. I mean, I
Mhm.
had over the years, um, and don't beat yourself up when everything you thought you've learned goes out the window, because it does, and then it will come back to you. It settles in your brain. It's like an alphabet soup, It'll start to make sense.
Yeah, and for me, the reason that it went out the window was because I was so far out of my element being in this foreign country,
Sure.
right? I couldn't think straight. I was saying the wrong words that I knew, right? It just
Yeah.
was a jumble. So there's
Or
that
somebody, you
too.
try to say something, and then when you walk away, it comes to you.
Yeah.
That would happen to me. I would just be walking down the street and I would have conversations in my head, like I was speaking with somebody. And sometimes I got strange looks, but it didn't matter. But that's how I would feel like. I would pretend like I had earbuds on. Oh, hello, yeah, bonjour. No. But that would help me as well. Just, I would hear something from somebody else, whether in a restaurant or just walking or whatever. And then I'd kind of use that as part of a conversation, and just how would I respond to that? And,
Hey, Linda, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Nice next week. You have a question. Could you please give the name of the free French language program in Nice?
I don't know. I have to look it up because it's given by the city. It was on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have my OFI appointment, by the way, on Thursday, finally. So I will find out and let you know, Linda, what that and where it's at. Are you here?
Yes, she's in Nice, yes.
Hey, Suze! Is Clark with you? Mwah! To both of you. I miss you guys. Friends from San Diego. And Suze always goes, she loves Paris. She's always hanging out in Paris. She brings her guitar with her, and she's a beautiful singer and songwriter and everything else. But I miss you guys. Yo, what's happening? Anyway.
Catch up time. So
that's what I miss. I don't miss the place. I miss the people, certain people that were good friends.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, gotcha. So when you first moved to France, you were on one type of visa. You were on a visitor visa, right?
Yeah.
Now, a few months ago, you went back, you got a different kind of visa. What visa are you on, and why did you make the change?
Professional liberal, entrepreneur visa. Because I'm a professional singer, and I also teach voice. Been doing it for way too long.
And you are amazing.
Oh, thank you, Patricia. And I realized that if I wanted really to have a life here for me, I need to do it legitimately. I don't want to do things under the table. I don't want to always worry over my shoulder, is somebody going to turn me in, or you can't go knocking on the doors you want to because you don't have the proper work papers. So I decided last summer, and I hired an attorney to mentor me through that process. And I highly recommend to go to professionals when you need something, because I had to put a business plan together. I had to show all this other stuff, and I'm a singer and a teacher. So it had to be a minimum of 8 pages. What am I doing? How am I doing it? What do I offer that's different than everybody else? Now,
why do you have what credentials do you have to do this thing?
Yeah, and I have the experience, but I don't technically have a degree. So I showed reviews, newspaper articles and reviews and this, that, and the other thing. What I would think of as writing a business proposal is very different than what the French want. That's another thing. They love their paperwork, so have it in order and have a lot of it. Because you can't have enough paperwork in France. So they mentored me through this process. It had to be a minimum of 8 pages. It ended up being like 12, I think. Because I would not have known how to do it. And I wanted to do it in English rather than French. So I decided to go back to California, stay with friends, and submit my paperwork there. Also because it would take me here, if I'd filed it here, an average of 6 to 9 months to even get. But in the States, it took me 3 weeks. I drove up to LA, filed it there. But my attorneys that I hired here, who actually are Americans, they mentored me through the process, especially with the business plan. And she'd massage it and send it back. And she's, no, you need to go in this direction. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And and I started it in the summer, and then my appointment was the 5th of September back in California, and to file it. And then I just kind of hung out my girlfriend's air mattress in her living room. God bless you, Diane, with Molly for 5 weeks, you know. And I got it in 3, which was, I just was jumping up and down. I saw the FedEx man outside. It was kind of like the Wells Fargo wagon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran out there and went, "Do you have a package for me? My name's Lillian Palmer. Do you be from the, you know, French embassy in DC and blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Well, just a minute." And he's like filing through. I'm like, you know, and I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait. Give it to me now. And I ripped it open, and it's a little piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's a little piece of paper that's just in your passport that says, "Congratulations, welcome, blah, blah, blah." And then you got the stamp in there as well. You know, there's no certificate.
So I think that answers this question here. Retirement Rumble. I may have missed it. How did your renewal go? I guess it's the renewal for your visa, right?
My renewal, it was fine. I got the Entrepreneur Liberal, which was the first time I applied for it. And I will have to reapply here and start that process towards the summer. Yeah. Because it expires in November for me. So that'll be my 1 year. I have a girlfriend here.
And then after that, with that visa, that will be renewed for 2 or 4 years. Yeah,
I have a girlfriend who just did it, and she got it renewed for 4. So I'm hoping for the same.
I got 4. I got 4 too. So
so
it's such a relief not to have to every year apply for a visa.
Yeah. So dealing with I've got to file French taxes. I've got to file, you know, that kind of a thing. Which is another hurdle.
All right.
Another new thing. I mean, my visa was from November, so November, December, as far as income, which was very little. You know, that I should be able to just go myself online and do it all. But being Miss Chicken that she is with paperwork over here, I'm for trying to find an account. Can you do my taxes here? I made €80, you know. Excuse me, getting over the croup. But yeah, so that's just another little hurdle to jump over.
Yeah, and there will be hurdles like that because you chose to move to a foreign country.
Yeah.
So there was a question in here. Can you share the name of your real estate agent?
Shall
I? We should talk about Adrienne, right?
Yeah, Adrienne Leeds, Leeds Group. You find her online. She also has a YouTube channel. She is very, very knowledgeable, no nonsense. She works with good agents here, whether you are renting or whether you choose to buy. Here right now in Nice, the rental market is tough. So at least give yourself 2 to 3 months. I found my place before I left. They started searching for me about 2 months before I left. And so I went ahead and rented this place as of November 1st, even though I came December 1st, because I wanted it. And I didn't want to lose it because it's a nice place. So very, very knowledgeable. Look her up. She does a lot of YouTube videos and also live chats as well.
I was on Adrienne's channel last year.
Yeah. She's no nonsense and she's a lot of fun. She strikes you like she's from New York, but she's not. But
Oh, she's not?
Doesn't she seem like she is? Because she's just a straight shooter. She's a straight shooter. I mean, it's refreshing.
All right. So if you have questions, feel free to go ahead and ask those questions. If somebody wants to, move to France or to a foreign country, what suggestions would you share with them so that they can make it the move more seamlessly?
Well, first of all, if you're coming over as a couple or you're coming over by yourself, I would definitely suggest doing a scouting trip first to discover where you want to be. If you don't know, take a month if you can, or a few weeks, or go online and research as much as you can about different cities or different countries. And then when you decide, really look at the treaties. That France has an excellent treaty with the United States as far as taxes and so on and so forth, because you don't want to give your American income away to another country, being double taxed and so on. Find out as much as you can. What I didn't do that I would suggest I would do now is I would work backwards. I would give myself, I just kind of went for it and did this and that. Pick a date. We want to be overseas in whatever, and then work backwards. How long is it going to take me to get my visa, whether it's a residency visa, or like me, I came over, which is a simple visa to get for 1 year. But if you want to renew it, a visitor's visa, you have to go back to the States to do it. So regardless of my filing my Entrepreneur Liberal visa, I would have had to gone back to the States to renew my visitor's visa.
Now, so I went back too, but I thought that there was one type of visitor visa that you could renew in France and another that you would have to go back to the States on. But I had to go back too.
Yeah, the one I had, the box that I ticked was the box that said you got to go back. So that was another reason why I thought, well, let me go back and just do this all at once and file for the Professional Liberal Entrepreneur visa in the States as well. But I would definitely say work your timeline backwards. Once you come over here, you realize what you can do without. The American culture is more and more, and store this and get that. You don't need most of your stuff. So really think thoughtfully on what you want to keep, what you want to sell or donate or give to your relatives or your children, and what you can really do without. Because life is much simpler here. There's not a lot of closet space here, people. So choose your clothes and your shoes wisely. Kitchen and stuff like that. But yet, everybody looks stylish. You can cook a terrific meal in a smaller kitchen. You don't need everything you think you do in the States. You just don't. And that's also the beauty of it. Simplicity is such a wonderful part of life. It really is. And scaling things down, and you realize what's really important to you, right? If you're going to bring your pet, research that. It's got to be a 21 day prior to departure that you get your USDA certificate. If not, you got to start the process all over again, and Kitty or Fido or whomever doesn't come with you. So, and make sure your vet is certified to do the paperwork for you. And you got the right carrier and all that kind of stuff. That's important. So I really, more than looking at myself, I researched for my dog, where are you, Molly? Come here.
Yeah, I think that you've said a few good things. So, work backwards. As a project manager, did she freeze? I hope it's not me who's frozen. She's frozen in a funny position. Hi, Elizabeth. Good to see you. You said you were able to renew your visitor visa from France. So yes, I think there are two different kinds of visitor visas, and you want to make sure that if you don't want to have to go back, that you pick the one that will allow you to renew in France, because I heard there were two different kinds of visas. So thank you for sharing that, Elizabeth. All right, so I think she's back. Hold on, let's bring her back in. You were frozen in the weirdest position.
What? Oh, was I? Oh, I was talking and doing. Here's the baby.
Oh, there's Molly.
Mama's little girl. Say hi, Mom.
Looking good.
She's a little French dog now.
Yeah.
She's like, Mom, I was slumbering, slumberland there.
All right. So there are some more questions we've got
Yeah.
here. Let me see if I can't find. Somebody's asking about prices. I don't have any information about real estate prices.
Yeah. I mean,
And it depends where too, right?
right. Nice, I've seen things for 250,000. Maybe it's 30 meters. The more you want, the higher the price is going to be. Anything from 250 up 600,000, 450,000, so and the interest rates are a lot less, when you research that. But you could find something nice, something small, and maybe it's a studio or maybe it's a one bedroom, for less than in the US, that's for sure. Everything is a bit less than in the US, food is less, and it's just more affordable to live.
Yeah.
I think for me anyway. I mean, I can only speak for myself.
I agree.
How was comfort level?
I agree. So, yeah, Elizabeth, if you can look in your passport and see what the detail is for the visitor visa. Elizabeth had a visitor visa where she could renew in France. So there are different kinds. And so if you could, that would be helpful. Renee, hi Renee. How are you? Can't wait to meet you in person next week. And she said, thank you, Lillian. Simplicity is key advice.
Yeah.
Yep.
J.S. Carter asks, how was your comfort level with speaking French before you arrived in Nice? Comme ci, comme ça. I was watching French TV. I was doing all that. It was very elementary. So my comfort level, I was not at like A1 level by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah. So
yeah. And for me, I'll chime in. When I moved, I felt like I had a good solid base of the language, and a lot of that went out the window, as Lillian pointed out, because I was just like, oh my gosh, everything was just so foreign and new that I just couldn't think clearly. I think it was for me after I listened, I did the Pimsleur method, and I did, the 5 levels, and I went back and repeated them. And so that reinforced it. But it wasn't until like 18 months in where I called myself fluent in French. And that was because I was able to have a conversation with an insurance agent on the telephone. He understood me, I understood him. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm claiming this.
Yeah. Shine Bright asks, can you find an updated apartment in the city center for 2,000? Probably yes.
Yeah,
that's
the
a lot
city
of money.
center of Nice, right? We're talking about Nice, right?
I'm talking about Nice because that's where I live. Yeah, you can probably find something for that. That's a good amount of money. I have a 2-bedroom. I don't pay that kind of money, but that's a lot when you think that the
minimum wage.
Yeah, the minimum wage is like $1,750 a month. $1,750 a month.
Like
22 to 20 euros, excuse me, or 22, 23,000 euro a year. So, yeah. And if you want to sit in the city center, I live in a residential area because I wanted to live and have more of a French experience. When you live in a town like Nice, a city like Nice, it's very touristic in the summer. So take that into consideration. If you're in the city center, or if you're in Old Town here, Vieilleville, where all the restaurants and the bars and everything else are, you're going to get a lot of noise in the wee hours of the morning for 4 or 5 months out of the year. Sure, it's Peditier. You go right out and you know. But for me, I'm 10 minutes to Libération Place, which has a very traditional, French traditional farmer's market. I'm across the street from the bus, 10-minute walk to the tram. And it's quiet in my neighborhood. And I know I can walk my dog at 11 o'clock at night and I feel absolutely safe, you know, and you know your neighbors, and it's for me, that was my personal choice. But if you want to be where the action is, yeah, go for it, girl. The summer is very hot, Sue. It is humid here and hot. Luckily, I have air conditioning. I have air conditioning split level in the living room, both bedrooms. But it is hot here in the summer because of the humidity. You know, we're right by the sea, so it'd be hot. A different kind of heat.
So Elizabeth has said, let me find that comment, that her first visitor visa was for 1 year, and it was V1 VLSTS visa, and that allowed her to renew in France.
I think somebody asking about a French television, TV shows and all that.
I'm not seeing that
to
one.
learn. I think it.
Oh, here we go.
Scroll down. Yeah. Isn't there a French channel in the States that you can get?
TV 5 Monde. That's a part of a cable package. I had that. There's also France television, and I have a link to that where it's a streaming service. And I can provide a link to that. That allows you to watch French programming if you're in the States, and you know, sometimes they have French subtitles, sometimes they have English, sometimes they have both, and that's a great way to watch. But also, like YouTube, there are lots of YouTube videos out where that will help you.
Yeah, and also KPBS has their international shows as well. So there's French TV there if you've got KPBS. So why did I consider any of the city, and why? Because I'm a singer and I teach voice professionally. I wanted to be somewhere where I could work, and so it was either my first, as I said, was Paris. But for the first time in my life, I actually made a decision that was heartfelt and not strategic. Because if I was working totally strategic, I would have chose Paris. Because so much is happening there. But there's a lot of things that are happening here. What I started doing was house concerts at other places and also in my place. And finding musicians online and working with them and starting a mailing list, getting names and email addresses. So when I'm doing something, you know, so I've created a following here, and that's important. So, you know, one thing kind of led to another, and then there's a little recording studio just up the street from me that I discovered. So I go up there twice a week. I rent a studio room for €8 for an hour, and I sing. And so I don't disturb my neighbors or anything because I want to sing my entire range. So, and I go there and I've met these musicians. And in fact, I'm going on Sunday to a concert that one of them is doing. And they've asked me, because everybody here wants to learn American music. They want to sing like an American or, you know, an English group. And so they've talked to me about doing a workshop with them and helping, you know, their French students how to phrase, how to, you know, interpret, you know, American music, which is a big thing. And I've got a few French students that are now coming to me. And it's funny because it's like, well, who referred you? Oh, my girlfriend Dominique. And I'm like, do I know this woman? you know, and they obviously somebody, because she's got my phone number. So, you know, things are just starting to happen, which is wonderful. Because I am getting out there, because I am not forcing myself, but making a point of meeting people, finding out about them, who, you know, having an interest in other people is important. It's not just about a connection or a networking thing. It's about meeting people and who are they? And are they somebody you want to be around? And how can you help them? And I find myself that I am also giving back. I'm actually helping other people. And sometimes I have to stop and think about that, because I'm like, well, what in the world do I know? I guess I know a little bit. So sometimes I forget about giving myself a little bit of credit, just a little bit of credit, that things are working for me. Because I'm always kind of like, okay, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I should be doing this.
The weekly wins. Remember the weekly wins from Nicole.
Yeah, absolutely. It's falling into place. And I would never have thought, because I didn't come over here with an exact plan, because as a friend of mine who used to study with me, she's a comedian. She calls herself Pam without a plan. I didn't really have a very clear, like, this is going to happen. And then step 2 is that. No. For me, it didn't fall into place like that. It just kind of get out there. Just get out there.
So
that's what you got to do. Just get out there.
Get out there. And it's starting to fall into place for you. So what is it like to have a business in France, to get a business off the ground in France?
Well, it's a lot of hustle. It's finding your market and then going after it. For me, and I realize the language, Lillian. You know, when you introduce yourself to these people, or you go to the university, or even to teach, you have to be able to communicate to a degree. Obviously, with singing, I can demonstrate and all that. But to really have them grasp the concepts that I want them to, and using analogies and stuff, it's a totally different vocabulary.
Yes.
You're talking about the soft palate and this, that, and the other thing. And you know, it's like, it's not your everyday lingo.
And for me, when I took flute lessons here, I struggled not because of the French language. I struggled because they don't use A, B, C, D for notes. They use do, re, mi. I'm like, I don't know what those are.
Well, yeah, you know, you got to think of the sound of music. Do,
yeah.
D, yeah. Well, thank you, Marla. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you. I have some of my house concert stuff on there too. Yeah, you have to, and like, for instance, this is old school, but when you want to tell the band a key, maybe you're on the bandstand and it's loud and it's noisy. What you do, instead of saying E flat, it sounds like B flat, right? What you do is you use your fingers down for flats. And how many flats are in E flat? 3. You know, if you want to do a sharp, if you're doing it in D flat, you know, you just do this on the bandstand and everybody knows what you're talking about. It's a hand signal thing. So I tried that.
Is that true in France? This is the same.
Well, I'm working with a wonderful guitarist. I love him. You'll find him on my YouTube channel. We do stuff together. Roger Lefaux. Sorry, Roger. And I did that to him. And he was like, oh, okay, I get that, you know. And, you know, in America, we'll say, as a, you know, on the stand, you know, okay, see you at the end. Like, see you at the end of the song. In French, they say the same thing, but they say see you at the coda, which the coda is the end. You know, it's the round thing. You know, and so every once in a while I look at him, I go, see you at the coda, you know. So, but the beauty is, it's a universal language, right? Music is universal to all of us. So you just kind of go with it. And musicians are the same all over the world. They're fun. And they have all their stories and the whole bit. And there's a vibe about musicians. And I think that's the same all over the world with them, which I'm getting a kick out of. Yeah.
Mhm. So here's another question.
Yeah.
What is from Rider Skater, what is the current monthly or yearly income requirement to qualify for a retirement visa in France? And I think that he or she clarified, by the way, that income requirement question is for a single person. Um, the French minimum
I'm,
wage, right?
yeah, I think the French minimum wage. For renting, they look at, they want up to 3 times your rent. So for Marla, there was, I can't remember, maybe somebody who wanted to get something for 2 grand, you have to show 6 grand as your monthly income. So keep that in mind. And you do have to show your taxes from, the previous year uh, in order to qualify, because they don't want you to be a drag on the system, and you have to have the private insurance when you come over, and so on and so forth. So you have to be able to support yourself.
So the question is, so what's the French minimum wage? It's around 21,000 US dollars?
No, euro. It's like, I think annually it's like 22 to 23 now. It's gone up a little bit.
For the euro, for euro? In
For
euro?
euro. In
Okay.
euro.
So then
Yeah.
it's,
Like
you
17,
extrapolate that.
1800 a
So
month. Yeah. Which
I
is
thought it was a
nothing
little
in the
less than
US.
that, but yeah,
Yeah.
you can Google French minimum wage
Mhm.
and
Yeah, and see what you
find
got.
that. Yeah.
It's, yeah.
All right.
So I
So
don't, yeah.
go ahead.
And then if you've got any investment or Social Security, um, or any other monthly funds, what I do is I have my Social Security come into my American bank account. But you can have it deposited directly to your French bank account if you like. It can be done that way.
Mhm. Okay. So we're going to get into a question.
Bye, Linda.
Um,
See you next week.
oh, this is from Rider Skater too. How has the current political environment in America created any negative blowback on Americans living in France?
None. They feel sorry for us. They don't understand it at all.
Well, I
How we
don't
could even
understand
run. Nobody
it.
can. Yeah. Not to get into the politics of it, but no,
We're not.
they don't understand. They think he's a joke over here. He's absolutely a joke. But they don't understand why. Why did we allow him to run again? Why did Americans choose him? Why is he doing what he's doing? Why isn't anyone, a lot of why? We don't understand. This is insane, and bad for the world in general, but they don't get it. No, but I don't have any blowback.
And I don't either. And right after the election, well, and even
Yeah.
now, right after the election, I felt apologetic, like, I'm sorry. And that was
Yeah.
not, no, we don't blame you. Right.
No,
So,
of course not. Yeah.
but
I mean,
that was my feeling. That was like, ooh.
yeah, I'm not driving a Tesla. Um, I tell
You get to
people,
dig in
I'm going
again.
back to Tesla. Yeah. Jeez.
We're going to get
Um,
off of this.
I tell people I'm from California. They recognize California very much. Oh, California, California.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, California. Oh, you from San Francisco or Los Angeles? Yeah, they know San Francisco and LA. They don't know, or I say, oh, I'm from San Diego. I'm a little far, right next to the Mexican border and Sud, down south. And they go, oh, yes, oh, yeah. And, but yeah, I tell people I'm from California. I don't say I'm from America. I say I'm from California.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's true. Yeah. Laugh out loud. It is true.
And
It, you
yeah,
know,
and for me initially, when I first moved here, in French, you would say, I come from the United
yeah,
States. Je viens de, right? And
yeah,
to me,
yeah,
that gave me a little bit of distance. Instead of saying I'm an American, oh, I come
yeah,
from
yeah.
there.
I ran away from Ale Ale.
Yeah. So, Lillian, this has been wonderful. We're just about out of time. I think we covered all of the questions. I do want to reiterate a couple of things that I shared early on. Not everybody was on the call then. On April 9th, if you're going to be in Nice and you would like to meet me and Lillian and others
Yeah.
in person, we are having a meetup at Liberté, and I'll put the information on the screen from 3 to 4:30 p.m. If you are going to be able to join, be sure to email me because email me at hello@thecouragecatalyst.com so that I can have a place for you. I can talk to the restaurant and make sure there are enough seats. And I am so excited to get to meet Lily in
I know
person.
we've never met in person.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And the second thing that I want to reiterate is my Women Rousing Roundtable, April 19th. If you are looking, if you'd like to become a better decision maker, you're a woman, you want to make a better decisions and allow yourself to focus on you instead of everybody else in the decision process, you can sign up for that here, thecouragecatalyst.com/roundtable. As always, I have my complimentary discovery calls. So if you are planning to move abroad and you feel some hesitation or feel like you would like support in making that move happen to help with your mindset, you can do that as well. And you can go to thecouragecatalyst.com /future expat to schedule that. And if you've got the mindset stuff down, but you'd like to pick my brain and to learn more about my experience and have more questions that you'd like for me to answer or address, then you can schedule a paid information session and by going to thecouragecatalyst.com /info session. Currently, the rate is 30 minutes for $75 US. And everybody who has had one with me has really enjoyed it, really gotten a lot out of it. All right. And I have the Carefree Expat Incubator Program, which Lillian is a graduate of. If you're a single woman and would like a group program, schedule a complimentary session and we can talk about how you can get started with that. All right. So
And
this has been, you see, I have a question? See some questions?
HMS 18. Yes, there are a lot of CPAs here that specialize in American tax returns and so on, and helping people navigate that. And they're probably less than what you would pay in the States. So you just have to seek those out.
And well, so there's two components. Like you've got your U.S. taxes you got to file, and then the French tax declaration.
Yeah.
So last summer, I met with a woman who founded myexpattaxes.com. It's an online service where that is for U.S. Citizens who are living in a foreign country, and it walks you through that process. And it's myexpattaxes.com. I did a live stream with her last year. She's very knowledgeable. So that might be something else that you want to look into. I do have a French tax accountant because I'm not really into that, and it's really expensive. So to have an American one on top of that, I'm looking to kind of economize. So my expat taxes is really good. All right. Were there other questions before we go? Let's see. Okay. Hi, Elizabeth again. I had trouble finding one who would take me. A small fish, yes. My return is very simple. The local French tax office. Oh, with the French tax return. And you did not owe tax.
Yeah, maybe that's what I should do because I haven't filed mine yet.
Yeah. Well, that's coming up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like we got all the questions answered. I want to thank everybody who has joined us live. And if you're joining from the future, thank you for tuning in later. Thank you so much, Lillian, for suggesting this, because you said, oh, I think it's time for a follow-up conversation.
Yeah, it's been a year, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Anything else you want to add before we go?
No, just that if you're thinking about it seriously, then you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
And change your life and be happy. I'm happy. I'm really happy. I was done with the state, so I'm very happy. I'm content. Even though I've got to hustle now with a business and so on, it's a different kind of hustle. It's a different kind. It's a joyful hustle. It's not, oh God, how am I going to make this happen? I know, I'm confident that uh, it will reveal itself. I'm not just sitting back going, but it will reveal itself, as I push through and work at it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
push
I'm,
through, work at it,
yeah,
allow things to flow to you. Yeah,
yeah.
follow
And,
your
and
intuition.
things are
Yep.
molding themselves, so it's coming together, and I think it will continuously evolve. I really do.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
All
Yay.
right. Well, thank you again. And I look forward to seeing you next
I
week.
know. I'm so excited. Yay.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take
Thank you,
care.
guys. Hey,
Bye bye.
merci beaucoup.